Welcome patrons to another update video, Fall 2017 edition. This season we look at comments left on lore videos of mine left between the dates of September 22nd to December 21st and talk about where I fucked up. So, let's begin. Antiva. In the video, I make a comment asking for viewers to tell me what accent the Antivans seem to have, so the next few comments are in response to that. Zero Mario X says, as a native Spanish speaker, I can say Zevran's and Josie's accents are similar to that of Spain, so I guess Antivan's words are from Spain and not Latin American Spanish. And then Sev Caswell says, I agree, the cultural flavor of Antiva speaks to me of late Middle Age Spain, the age of the Spanish Armada and conquistadors. This would also support the pure but flirtatious nature. Spain was high Catholic, but it was common for upper-class women to wear low-cut dresses as the breasts were less sexualized than the lower body. Kate B says, I also think that there's a massive crossover between the Spanish and Italian, because Zev and Josie sound Spanish, but Faniel's father from Dragon Age 2 sounds more Italian, so maybe the accent differs depending upon where in the country you are. And then Gavin Skew says, I remember reading somewhere that Antiva was supposed to be very Venetian in culture and appearance. It was supposed to be called Calabria, but since there's a real Calabria, they went with Antiva. Zevran was supposed to have an Italian accent, but Curry couldn't do a good Italian accent, so he was told to use his Spanish accent. Curry's accent is what you would expect a non-Spanish speaking trying to sound Spanish would sound like, so it's not Italian or Spanish, which makes it Antivan. Josephine is definitely more Spanish in nature. There are a few more than this, but for the most part, these three got to the heart of what I was looking for. While I couldn't find a source for GVN's comment on Zevran, I think it's a believable story, and I also remember reading that Antivan was based on Venetian culture, so I think Antiva's sort of this weird mesh of Italian and Spain. Black Emporium. David Crocker says, how is he visited on the Blessed Age if he's from the Steel Age? Maybe he's a liar, or his story isn't true. I just want to address this because it got 2 likes. David, my man, you got your ages confused. The Steel Age is the 6th age, and the Blessed Age is the 8th. So while Xenon's story, as you know, it might be a lie, the timing is not the clue you're looking for here. Orlais. Yosh says, also you said the elves in Tirashan worship the Forbidden Ones. I know it was an honest mistake, but someone might not. Oh my god, did I really? This forest also seems to hold Dalish elves that worship the Forbidden Ones. Forbidden Ones. Oh my god, I really did. No. Well, shit, yeah, this is just an editing error on my part. It's supposed to be the Forgotten Ones, the negative elven deities rather than Forbidden Ones who are demons. Whoops! Alyssa Levenseller says, this is an amazing video, however there is one fact that confuses me. In Inquisition, you meet the Dowager, Lady Mentillion, like you said. However, if you read The Masked Empire, Brialla kills Mentillion to avenge her parents, so why is Mentillion at the Winter Palace? She's supposed to be dead. Someone clear this up for me, I'm so confused. This is an amazing question, as I also completely forgot that she died in the novel. So here's her death in The Masked Empire. I regret the deaths of your family, Brialla. She caught Brialla's gaze and calmly asked, was there anything else? No. Brialla stabbed just as she had learned, up between the ribs, and Lady Mentillion flinched, nodded once, and went still. As her body relaxed, a second tiny stiletto fell from her hand and clattered on the floor of the coach. Brialla stared in disbelief. Lady Mentillion had almost certainly been close enough to strike. Brialla herself had leaned in to hear her last whispered words better, and yet Lady Mentillion had stayed her hand. Well, I did try to ask Des what was up, I got no response, which, hey, that happens. So the way I see it, we have a few different options as to what happened here. 1, an editing error that will probably be swept under the rug. I'm putting this first as it's in the larger scheme of things, a very minor character that doesn't really play that big of an impact in the world, so no matter how much it bothers us nitpickers, it's really not that big of a deal. 2, the Dowager we meet in Wicked Eyes, Wicked Hearts is not the one who was killed. This could be for multiple reasons, like the one in-game is a puppet from the Empress, or the one killed in the novel was a decoy, although Brialla was fooled enough to think she had killed her. But isn't too far off the imagination that the Dowager had learned to survive many assassination attempts, and somehow the fumbly one done by Brialla worked because she presumably felt bad about killing the Knife-Ear parents? I have my doubts, and honestly I'm probably putting my money on it being a decoy. 3, the Dowager is a title, so there are just 2 different people. I had a few different people suggest this to me, and I just can't really get behind it personally. Per Google, a dowager is a widow with a title or property derived from her late husband. And as the dowager is supposed to be a master of the game because of how many times she's gotten away with murdering her husbands, I just don't see it as being a title. It would also be weird to me that both are Lady Matillion. Is the Dowager only reserved for the Matillion family? If so, why? It's just confusing. Either way, it's a really great question, but I sadly do not have an answer. In lore character creation, Sweet Carrot says, "Lamau, I have a human mage with white hair and bright purple eyes. Guess I'll just say she's half-elf." This brings up something that I wanted to add in the script, but completely forgot about it. So as I just left a comment about it, I'll just read that. This totally reminds me of a point I forgot. Mages are said to be able to change eye colors, and it's apparently one of the earliest signs of magic. It wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination that this applies to hair as well. So if you have bright colored eyes or pink hair or whatever, perhaps your character just has this small ability for magic. Tori Parker Alexander says, "In Dragon Age 2, you save a half-elf who is a young boy dreamer and struggles with his magic. He doesn't look human because he has thinner features like the elves and pointed ears, although smaller. His mom was elven and father a human from Antiva, unlike Alistair in Dragon Age Origins, who is half-elf and looks completely human. I believe BioWare made this clarification when Dragon Age Inquisition was coming out." So this is mostly in regards to my comment on half-races, and I got a lot of comments about him, so I understand that Fanriel sure does look a lot like a half-elf. While I should have brought him up, I also want to keep the video spoiler-free, so it was kind of this weird in-between, but I do want to share this tweet from Patrick Weeks. So Twitter user RenMiri1 says, "Fanriel from DA2 is an exception, why?" And then Patrick Week then responds, "Mistake as I understand." So it's a bit of a cheap answer, but because of the rush time frame of Dragon Age 2, it was just an honest mistake between the writing and the art department. So I would put my money on them actually changing his looks to be more human if they do ever bring him back. So I can't tell if this is IOR or lore, but they say, "Great video, but you were incorrect about everywhere and Thedas being pasty white except Rivain, Antiva, and South Ferelden. Mike Laidlaw said in the Dawn of the Seeker commentary that people from Nevarra and other countries that direction closer to the equator have darker skin too." And then I respond back, "Perhaps they said that, but we haven't really seen that. A large majority of the people we have seen from the Andervels to Vinter and Nevarra have been white. Rivain and Antiva has been the only consistent non-white characters." So yeah, mirroring what I say in the comment, if the equator of Thedas is supposed to have darker skin tones, we just haven't really seen it. And my copy of Dawn of the Seeker doesn't have the commentary, so I can't really check to see maybe he worded it weird, and so it actually refers to something that it does. I don't know. My main thing is I haven't actually seen the commentary yet, which if you have a copy of that, hit me up, or know where I can get it. Can I buy this on iTunes? I don't know where this is. Anyway, I'd love to see it. Werewolves. From Believe It 1051. What about the Kuslan history with the werewolves? Mather and Orhalia Kuslan imposed curfews and patrols and/or led the bands in hunting down the werewolves. If the human noble has enough cunning, 15 I think, he or she can answer Adolis saying how Highever became a Tyrant during the lycanthropy plagues. This also shows that the lands of Highever endured a plague of werewolfism. So this is all true. I just didn't put it in the video because I felt it was more about the Kuslans than the werewolves. But I'll totally talk more about it when we talk about the Kuslans. Amladaris Lineage. From... I don't know how to pronounce this, I'm sorry. I'm still not convinced of BioWare stories. I'm still very sure that BioWare are just a bunch of liars. Just make something up to continue their games. The only thing makes me continue playing Dragon Age franchises are the game combats. It's really incredible and I like it. There's no theories at this kind of game because I don't believe and trust BioWare. But anyway, thanks for the video. I just saw I respect your work. I'm namely putting this in because I don't really think this person's wrong, but I think calling BioWare liars is just a bit extreme. Of course they're making it up as they go along to make more games, and there's nothing wrong with that. How dare the writers, artists, voice actors in a company try to make money by making more of a thing we enjoyed? Gasp, horror. The reason for theories in any media is to try and guess what the writers are up to and feel smart when we are right, or smug when our idea was better when what they came up with. This is all for fun, my dude. Rivain. Carl Gustav Tessen says, "Nope, that is not socialism. Communities working together can be found in history, since socialism is that the state should own everything for the common good." Hi, my name is Katie, and I don't know shit about governments. So yeah, with that in mind, I ask you, the viewers, what would you call Rivain then? I'm opening this to all you guys because I don't even know where to begin, and it's just, I don't want to put my time and effort just to label it correctly, I'll be honest. David Cooker again says, "There is a picture of Rivaini fashion on the role-playing book at the character creation page," and then helpfully links to it. So I did actually see this while making the video, and I ended up not referencing it because the Dragon Age role-playing game has a bad habit of using random images if they look like they could be related. For example, here is a concept art of Sten being used as an image of Avar. So while this image was probably made for the Rivain fashion, I couldn't get behind it. I don't know why. So with that in mind, I kind of opted out using it because I try to only use images that are 99% related to what I'm talking about, and I couldn't be sure is what it actually was referring to. Like, this could honestly just be a dark-skinned pirate with an elf woman, and that's what whoever drew it as, and so this costume might not actually be related to Rivain. Old God and the Evanuris. Lisa C says, considering the High Priest of Dirthaman is a demon you fight in the temple, he can't be one of the old gods in another banter. Sola says, nothing in any lore connects my people to the old god dragons who become archdemons. He could be lying, I guess, or using a technicality, and the specific mention of any lore, but the highest one being a sealed demon, and not one that even can become a dragon, mine seems to suggest this theory. If there were 6 old gods, high priests, all the Evanuris, minus Fens, Mythals, and Dirthies, I'd buy it. And then I essentially say, shit, I forgot about it. I have little more to add in the comments. I just basically forgot about the quest, oops, and I was just wondering if they actually use the word high priest or if they just use highest one, although I think in the end it doesn't really matter. What they're getting at is that the demon you find is the high priest of Dirthaman, which is a huge blow to the theory, and just fun facts, should have put in the video. Whoops, I forgot about it. Your Inquisitor. From Believe It 1051, you forgot about the part with the rabbit. There should be more rabbit in stories. Oh, yes, it's true, but essentially what they're referring to is when you play cards with everybody, no matter what story your Inquisitor says, Cole mentions on every one that there's some sort of rabbit in the story. So in a weird way, I guess all possible Inquisitors are linked with a rabbit story? From Shadowhell, you mentioned for the Elf Inquisitor that an Elven clan adds a home for the first time, but if you're a Warden is a Dalish elf at the end, your clan is given Ostagar as their home. And then Casey Cole says, but as we can see in Dragon Age 2, they clearly didn't go there. So I just sort of forgot about the ending when writing it, and I kind of think the rest of the series has forgotten about it as well, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. But as Casey mentions, the clan didn't seem to go there anyway. But in a forum post long dead, writer Mary Kirby answered a question sort of related to this. The exact question is, where is Ashel, the woman who raised the Dalish warrior in Dragon Age Origins, to which Kirby responds that she is still in Ferelden managing the land that was given to them. So yeah, the Dalish can have a plot of land in Ferelden, although it's never mentioned again, and it kind of seems that Clan Sabre split in two, one going to the Free Marches and the other staying in Ferelden, which I think that has something to do with Marathari, why Marathari had to go to Sundermount to essentially receive Hawk. Apparently she made a deal with Flemeth, but anyway, I'll talk about more of this when I go over the Warden's origins. Titans. Corwin says, is the sky explicitly inside the Titan? Because if it's not, then it could just be that Thedas doesn't have a planet shape. Maybe it's just a disk and the sky in the ground is literally the other side of the disk. No real comments here, I just like the idea that Thedas is flat. Susiga says, is Korth the Titan? A fight between him and a serpent destroyed Mount Belenas. He carved caves for the Avar to live in. He fathered dwarves. His heart was sealed away, which you yourself have connected to Titans. Mount Belenas was moved to the realm of the Lady of the Skies, which might be how they made them forget. Basically, my headcanon is there's a Titan in the Fade. Again, no real comments, but I like the idea that the Avar are just a bunch of humans caught in between the conflicts of the Elven and Dwarven gods. Nevarra. Ender Escuza says, I'd like to point out Nevarra sounds very close to Navarra, an autonomous community on the north of Spain, also a place of tales about kings and ancient wars. And then Class Land says, the guilder was actually the old currency of the Netherlands before we got the euro. Austria, Bavaria, and Germany also had a guilder way before that, according to Wikipedia. Maybe Navarra is roughly based on multiple Germanic, the Netherlands, Germany, Australia, etc. European countries? Also not a lot of comments here, but interesting suggestions as to what the land of Nevarra could be based on. Your champion. King of Snakes says you actually forgot a little tidbit in one of his descriptions. The staff of Parlathan states that it is a Hawk family heirloom that originally belonged to a mage that fought beside Calenhad before ditching him when he found out that the future king was going to let the Chantry impose the circle on Ferelden. So, in explanation of why it wasn't included, I tend to try not to use the wiki too much. I try to stick to release material like games, Roll of Thedas, Codex Entries, etc. So, in this case, it would have been good to use the wiki as well. The Codex of the Staff of Parlathan, or however it's pronounced, states one thing, a bit on the official website for the game says another, and I had absolutely no idea. So here is that bit completely. Magic has always run strongly within the Hawk bloodline. The tales passed down from one generation to the next tell of an ancestor named Partholon, a mage who long ago helped unite Ferelden under the rule of King Calenhad. Partholon eventually vanished into legend, fleeing the persecution of the Chantry, but his legacy remains in the hands of his family, along with his hope that one day mages would achieve the freedom that King Calenhad intended to bring to all men. So yeah, Hawk is related to one of those who help unite Ferelden. Thedas Holidays. Jonathan Sims says, Saturnalia sounds somewhat like Saturnalia, which is a real Roman holiday that was folded into Christmas. It was also a wild day where people has wild parties and banquets, and the boundary between slave freedom and citizen were blurred, followed by the gift-giving that we still practice today. Historia Civalis did a whole video on it. So yeah, just a cool tidbit about real-world influences on Dragon Age. For ease of clicking, I'll link the video mentioned in the description. And that, dear patrons, is all the edits I have for fall video. This time I won't give a vague date for when the next one comes out, so I won't mislead you, but winter 2017 edits should be around mid-spring. Do you have any lingering questions, proof that I'm wrong, comments about your own fan theory? Feel free to tweet me at Gilderthon on Twitter or send a PM to user Gillanon on Reddit. Durestiral.